As a fight fan, as everybody in the boxing community, all we ever want is the best v the best. Champion versus champion. And whenever we get an opportunity to do number one against number two, however way you want to see it, we have to grab it with both hands. On Saturday night, you will get the fight of the year. And you're back at Atlantic City.
All right, what up, though? We're finna get into this Jaron Ennis, Stanionis press conference right here. All right, let's go ahead and roll with it.
Bozy, welcome. It's been, as Tom said, 2 great shows in Philadelphia, 2 fights not difficult to get up for, but kind of knew the result before we stepped in the ring and had to go through and put the performance together. A different kind of fight this time. Very aware of the threat of this great fighter, but you believe this will bring out the very best of your son and prove to the world that he's the number one in the division.
I mean, I want to say hello to everybody out there, but Boots never went to another level yet. I hope Stanionis can bring it out of him, you know what I mean? That's what I'm waiting on, you know what I mean? Then you're going to see another different Boots, you know what I mean? He just go out there and do what he do, you know what I mean? But if Stanionis can bring it out, you're going to see something. It's not going to last that long.
I wouldn't have done that right here. I wouldn't have said that. No, because once again, it's putting unnecessary pressure on Jaron Boots Ennis, and he already has enough. This is the same thing that was done to him in the first Karen fight. This is the same thing that was done to him in the second Karen fight, and now it's being done again to him in the Stanionis fight. He shouldn't have to worry about that element of the fight come this fight. I think it would be wise to just say that we're just here to get the win, do our job. If the knockout comes, that's fine. But, you know, this is legacy. This is important. And we got to go in there and get the job done. If we can get it done in spectacular fashion, then great. You know what I'm saying? We would like to do that. But if not, we're going to go in there and do what we're supposed to do to get this nod. I think that probably would have been the best thing to say, because it's putting unnecessary pressure on him. Because if Jaron Boots Ennis goes in there and he doesn't vanquish Stanionis, then what are they going to say? We're going to return back to the same excuses that we heard for the first Karen fight, second Karen fight, and then we're going to hear again for the Stanionis fight. Stanionis didn't bring the best out of Jaron Boots Ennis. That's something that Bozy would say. You know, he's gearing up to say it right now. He's saying, you know, if he could bring the best out of him, Boots should be able to bring the best out of himself. You know what I'm saying, kind of willingly, and especially at this point. But I think they know that they have to promise something spectacular just due to the last performances and the question mark and the head scratch that's going on with Jaron Boots Ennis at this point. At this point, this fight is more than just legacy or collecting belts at this point. At this point, this fight is really about, can you continue to sell Jaron Boots Ennis as the threat that he's been propped up to be? That's what this fight is about. Yeah, it's got belts and all that stuff, but that's really what this fight is about. Are you going to be able to sustain his brand that you have built for him? Because as of right now, it's standing on weak legs, and people are looking for any reason to have it come crashing down on him. You know, due to the fact that, you know, how they ran his boxing career and how they chose to go about things, no doubt. So it's not all detraction and, you know, hate and something like that. I like Jaron Boots Ennis ain't done enough to even generate, you know what I'm saying, hate. We still just trying to figure him out. It's just that he's just this deep into boxing and we don't know. You shouldn't be 30 fights in and we don't know what you are yet. You know what I'm saying? So at this stage, this late stage of the game, we are trying to figure this out. But something that was said in the press conference that I thought was interesting, you know what I'm saying? And it was, you know what I'm saying? It was very revealing. And that was the fact that Tim Brown talked about the only reason this fight got made is because Stanionis was the one that primarily pursued it, you know? And that blew up the skirt of Team Ennis on there.
Whenever you get a chance to have 2 undefeated, reigning world champions, both in the prime of their careers, fight in a fight like this, it just doesn't get any bigger than this. Now, make no mistake about it, though. This fight is happening because Imanta Stanionis demanded this fight versus Ennis. He wanted this fight. And look, he knows that he's here in Ennis's backyard, and he's fine with that. We're fine with that. Stanionis is a road warrior. This is what he does.
And Bozy Ennis made sure that, you know what I'm saying, he had a counter for that.
I was listening to Tom Brown talking, you know what I mean? We and him go way back too. I said, but he know that Boots been asked for Stanionis a long time ago. He never said that just now.
Now, make no mistake about it, though. This fight is happening because Imanta Stanionis demanded this fight versus Ennis. He wanted this fight.
And the reason why he had to say something, because it's a bad look. You know, at this point, do what has happened between the first Karen and second Karen and whatever and whatnot, and your career. You are supposed to be pursuing positions that put you in a position to become undisputed, to be able to unify. You know, this is what people have been wanting him to do. You know what I'm saying? You're either going to do this or pursue undisputed, like you said. And for Tim Brown to reveal that the main reason the fight happened is because of Stanionis, once again, that's a black eye on Team Ennis. That's why Bozy felt he had to address it. You know, because that shouldn't be. It should be Ennis pursuing the hell out of Stanionis, because Stanionis has something that could elevate him to the position in which they claim that he wants. So it shouldn't nobody be able to tell you that they're the main reason that this fight got done, and we tracked and we hunted this fight down to get it, and we have requested it. That shouldn't be said about you in this position. It should be the other way around, because you're supposed to be pursuing the best and unified and all that stuff. So for that stuff to just roll out like that, and I don't know how many people ears it missed or went over their head. It didn't go over my head. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Bozy responded the way he did. So in the end, they know that this fight is important. They know what's on the line. You could tell they nervous. You could tell Bozy's already nervous, and he's already keyed up to hurl out excuses. You could already tell. That's why I said I don't think it was a good idea to talk about this fight is going to end quick. You shouldn't have did that. You put yourself right back in the frying pan again. And what happens when things don't go your way? You're going to get frustrated. Last excuse was you were bored. You know what I'm saying? He was bored. He wanted to fight for them belts. So what happens when he now fights for them belts and he gets in there and still acts unenthused, or so-called Stanionis is not able to bring the best out of him? What excuse are you going to say then? Because now the belts are on the line. Last fight, you said he was disinterested and stuff like that. The same excuse for the first Karen fight. I just don't think it was smart to go in there and talk about you going to take somebody out early. Now, this is the other thing. Is it expected? Yes. Yes, but they backed themselves into that corner. It doesn't have to be, but when you talk like that and when you stomp like that, people and you bark like that, people want to see that your bite is like that. So yeah, now, yes, you're supposed to be able to get rid of somebody like Stanionis, even though he's a good fighter, fairly quickly, because of how you've been propped up and how we have been led to believe that you are better than this person, best fighter in boxing, better than this person, better than Canelo, better than Crawford, better than Inouye, better than, you know what I'm saying? Better than all that. So once you put that on the table, okay, all eyes is on you. The only thing you got to do is show up and show out. I just don't think it was a good position to put pressure on yourself to get the guy out of there early. Honestly, I just would have took this one on the chin. Like, they're not going to be satisfied no matter what I do. Let me just get the win so I can unify these belts, so I can at least get the move in. Because truthfully, as much as they want to prop this fight up as number one and number two, truthfully, this is not a fight, just like the Karen fight. It's not a fight that you want to hang on Bozy Ennis as being one of his credible or tough fights. It's kind of like when Jamel Charlo said Brandon Adams was a legacy fight. Like, it's like what the hell are you talking about? A legacy? Brandon Adams? This what you call a legacy fight? Like, these are not the type of opponents, especially with the caliber in which he's spoken of. These are not the type of opponents you want to match up against him as he had a tough time, or this is the true testament of how great he is. It shouldn't be these type of opponents. Even if people like Stanionis is good, even if people like Karen is good, they're great. But as far as commercial wise, name wise, they're not the type of people that you want to do that. And as far as fight wise, they're not the type of fighter that you should want to hang that up on. So, you know, that was just my opinion of it. I think Stanionis is serious, and really Stanionis only got one job to go in there and do. He only got one job to go in there and do. It's to not let Boots have his way. And in a way, that's a victory within itself. You've already taken what you needed to take away from Ennis by just not being cooperative. By just not being cooperative, you can already rob Ennis of this victory. That's why I say they shouldn't have said that. They should have just went in there and say, we just gonna go in there and get the job done. We're gonna hope for a knockout. If it comes, it comes. If it don't, it don't. But we got something to do. You know, to me, that would have been the best bet. But we gonna see. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.
I'm excited for this. When this fight was signed, I could not wait.
Now, make no mistake about it, though. This fight is happening because Imanta Stanionis demanded this fight versus Ennis.
We know that the pressure was on to make that unification. You don't want to keep treading water. And when you looked at the champions, you said anyone. You don't really care. What do you expect this man to bring? All action, you know, a great style as well for the fight fans. You expect this is the toughest fight in the division for you?
We don't know. We will see on fight night.